What's up, guys? Simone Fan 101 here, and this is my NXT Takeover Philadelphia review. That's right, I'm actually reviewing a show only a day after it happened. Especially since I promised my friend and a couple people I'd do this. So I want to get this show out of the way. This was a pretty friggin' awesome show. Just gonna put that out there right now. Takeover Philadelphia was great. Now, not to say there weren't any slightly dumb decisions. Well, maybe not dumb, but, you know, some decision. Well, there wasn't really any dumb moves, as there was some ways of being a little bit underwhelming. Sorry, my nieces are here and I can hear them outside my door. In fact, it took me a few minutes to try to get them out of my room, and I told them I'd spend time with them after I'd record and upload. So, with that being said, let's get to the show. This was a 5-match show, and up until earlier in the night, or earlier in the day, I should say, yesterday, there were only 4 matches. It wasn't until episode. Sorry, I was watching a TV show earlier. God, I'm just out of it because I can still hear them outside. It wasn't until the pre-show that another match was made. A match that I admit was actually entertaining to watch, so I'll give it that. Now, with the opening match was the NXT Tag Team titles, and they actually got a good, 15 minutes or so of time from the match. It was the Undisputed Era, or in this case, if I want to be specific, Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, against the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor. They attacked AOP, attacked before the bell, but, you know, Fish and O'Reilly were able to fight back out of it. I'm not going to talk too much in the way of spots for the early matches, unless it's, you know, really relevant, because honestly, this wasn't a spot-heavy show. Not until the Adam Cole Aleister Black match, which was the second to last match on the card, as it turned out. But this was a really good match. Early on, they were attacking Akam's left leg, so that was the story throughout the match. They would attack Akam's left leg, and Akam would be you know, not as strong as usually is, because, of course, if there's anything about a big man, take out the legs and they're nothing. I mean, look at Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles from Survivor Series. AJ went after Brock's legs. If there's anything about Brock that's not as buff as he usually is, it's his legs. But yeah, they were working over Akam for a while over the match. And, you know, did some nice little couple of power moves. Razor got the tag in, to I believe, if I recall correctly, a big pop. Not a big pop, but a nice little pop. And just was beating the shit out of them, charging them down, just trying to pummel them right in the face. It was actually really fun to look at. And, you know, Akam and Razor, man, I gotta hand it to Akam and Razor. You look at where they were last year, or even, because last year they were feuding with, DIY, Ciampa and, Gargano for the tag titles, and they actually won them at a show this time last year. And, man, they've improved. Working with guys like DIY, Revival, and now, Red Dragon, I think is really going to help Authors of Pain when they go up to the main roster. Not that they'll really need it, because, of course, they're big men, and, of course, you know Vince McMahon, he wants to push the big guys, the monster heel characters. But Akam and Razor, not only are they big, but they're also good athletes. In fact, I think it was Akam. He was the one that had some MMA background experience. So that's definitely going to help them out, and they're going to be fine when they go up to the main roster. I have really no worries about them. Razor, like I said, Razor got the tag in, was just beating the shit, like I said, beating the shit out of them. There was a Samoan drop, for example, like Kyle O'Reilly had Razor in like the sleeper hold move, and Razor was also holding Bobby Fish in the fall-away slam position. So he did a, or maybe it was so it was a fall-away slam. It was a fall-away slam, sleeper hold slam, sleeper hold like slam on the mat combo. It was really cool. There was another spot by O'Reilly of all people. What really was by it was by O'Reilly, but it wasn't so much like a spot like, oh, he did a dive. But and I will get to the ending of the match. Speaking of dives, but what happened was the so Kyle O'Reilly was giving, I believe, Razor, he was going to try to give him an exploder suplex. And of course, Razor being a big guy, not easy to give an exploder suplex to. Bobby Fish kicks him, or at least hits him or something like that, and then Kyle O'Reilly delivers an exploder suplex. Not easy to do with a guy that size. Or maybe it was Akam, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was Razor. Akam tagged back in. Not exactly smart considering he still has the bum leg. What happened was, here's the finish. Here's the finish. And, actually, before I go to the finish, I gotta mention this. Akam gave a buckle bomb to Kyle O'Reilly, and, it's not like the kind of buckle bomb that Seth Rollins does where he runs and he kind of just launches at his opponent. Akam pretty much just power bombed Kyle O'Reilly right onto the turnbuckle. That was actually pretty cool. And brutal, I might add. So AOP goes for the Super Collider, right? They go for the Super Collider, and but what happened was Akam's leg gives out on him. When they hit the Super Collider, Akam kind of like goes back and like hits the corner. Kyle O'Reilly gets out of the powerbomb position. I believe he doesn't. Yeah, he gets out of the powerbomb position he does a Hurricane Rana to Akam. Akam, because of the Hurricane Rana, hits Razor. Razor gets out of the ring, and then Kyle O'Reilly rolls up Akam for the 1-2-3. Red Dragons, or Undisputed Era, whatever you want to call them, still your NXT Tag Team Champs. This was a really, really good match. I do think there could have been a little bit more done. I think they could have had a better match, like a better set-out match. But as far as the match goes, it's not a bad match by any means. It was a really good match, really enjoyable, and a good way to open the show without possibly overshadowing the rest of the card. And a good thing, too, because the last two matches could ill afford to have that match be the show stealer. Fish and O'Reilly, they delivered. I expect them to just rule the tag team division, probably for the rest of the year, until maybe, the end of the year. Maybe at the last Takeover, or possibly Takeover Brooklyn. Because they're going back to Brooklyn. You just know. As far as AOP, unless they do something like weird, like say they put them in the men's Royal Rumble match, I think they're gonna be debuting after WrestleMania. It's just inevitable. They have nothing really else to do on NXT. They were tag team champions. They got really, really good thanks to the efforts of Fish, O'Reilly, DIY, and the Revival, as well as TM61. You got to give TM61 because TM61 gave them their first good match that they've had. So with that said, next match. Next match was actually, this was the match that was set up on the pre-show. Basically, Velveteen Dream, because they're in Philadelphia, I guess was trying to do the Rocky thing or something like that. Instead, he would knock out Kassius Ohno in 30 seconds, and regardless of what would happen, he would win. Velveteen Dream came out in his MMA shorts. It was not even MMA shorts. He came out what looked like boxer shorts. Not boxer shorts. Boxing shorts, like like in the Rocky movies, because of course Philadelphia, you know, the Rocky steps and everything. So he came out wearing these boxing shorts, and he had like a little bit of an entourage, like at ringside. Like there was this guy who had a pillow that had a mouth guard on it. There was a lady, like a hot-looking lady, who put the mouth guard in his mouth, I believe, or like, and held his hand at one point. I'm just like, dang. And of course, Velveteen Dream's hair. The hair of this man. It's poofy, but it was also enjoyable just to look at. So Kassius Ohno, Velveteen Dream had a really good match. Not a really good match. It wasn't as good as the AOP Red Dragon match, but it was still pretty good. These guys at first went for like a boxing kind of way. Not boxing, but like Dream, for example, punched him right in the face. Ohno was out for a few seconds. Dream was celebrating. When Kassius Ohno got back up, he forearmed Dream so hard that he got knocked down. In fact, when Dream knocked down Kassius Ohno with a punch in the corner, crowd was actually chanting along. I think they got to like 20 before, or something like that. And of course, Dream, when he hit the forearm, Ohno did. Dream tried to put his mouthpiece back in, but then Ohno just kicked him back outside. This was a pretty good back and forth match. Not too much in the way of spot. There was one spot that I liked. Well, not one spot, but there was this one spot where Dream tried to go for the rolling Death Valley driver. It looked like it got kind of botched. But that's because it was supposed to be a surprise Death Valley driver, and with a guy as big as Kassius Ohno is, it's really so hard to just pick the guy up and roll him over like he's a cruiserweight. This isn't Johnny Gargano or Aleister Black. This is Kassius Ohno. He's not a skinny guy like those guys are. So I can understand that. I can kind of give that a pass. Dream, by the way, can hit, as we saw in this match, he can hit a wicked spinebuster. Triple H-esque, not Arn Anderson-esque. So sadly, he's not better than Arn Anderson at spine but this was a nice little match. Dream, the ending of the match, Kassius Ohno went for his Cyclo kick. That Dream kicked out. Then Kassius Ohno went for what I call his ultimate finish. He went for it was the one forearm to the back of the head. It's when he puts him up like a neckbreaker position, but then just wails the guy in the back of the head with a forearm. He missed. Dream got, after a brief second of trying to get him up, he got Ohno up for a rolling Death Valley driver, and went up top. It was a little bit weak looking, but he hit the elbow drop and got the win. So, Velveteen Dream, even though he lost two somewhat big matches to Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano, he got a big win off of Kassius Ohno. This was a pretty good match. It wasn't as good as the opening match, but it was certainly better than what ended up sadly being the worst match on the card. Not bad. Not bad at all. This was still enjoyable, and watching Velveteen Dream do his thing is always enjoyable to watch. I mean, this guy, he's got his character down pat, and I love it. Next match was Ember Moon defending the NXT Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. Of course, the story being that Shayna Baszler has become the quote-unquote NXT bully of the women's division. And they showed it in the promo package. She choked out a person who was simply training in the Performance Center. She injured Dakota Kai. She beat the hell out of Aaliyah. And then Ember Moon had enough of this shit and basically called out Shayna Baszler. And Baszler said she would only fight Moon for the NXT Women's Championship, and that's exactly what Ember Moon did. Now, and going into this match, I was wanting Ember Moon to retain, but it was like, what do I want? What do I want to happen? What do I think is going to happen? I thought Shayna Baszler was gonna beat Moon for the championship. Turned out I was wrong. The match started out with Baszler immediately trying to do the amateur wrestling stuff on Ember Moon. Ember tried to use her acrobatics and even got hit a dive to the floor. And she hits an Austin Aries-esque dive when going through the middle and bottom rope, not the top and middle rope. So I always like that. You know, she tried to get Baszler early on. Baszler then did exactly what she did with Dakota Kai. She put her arm kind of like on the mat. She put her she put her like feet. Baszler did on Ember's hand, like kind of like in like this kind of. I can't even do it, but it was weird. It was like weirdly put on the mat, and then she just stomped on the arm. This is the move that quote unquote injured Dakota Kai a few weeks before the show, or maybe it was just a couple weeks. I don't know. So now is basically one-armed Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. Baszler now was going after the arm, was just retching and stretching it, you know, in only the ways that a former MMA fighter can do those things. Moon eventually fought back, got a high cross body at one point, hit at one point, and this was early in the match, because this match, believe it or not, only went 10 minutes. I was shocked when I looked up how long this match went. This match did not go long. Ember Moon went up for the Eclipse. She hit the Eclipse on Baszler, and Baszler looked like she was just knocked out almost. But Ember Moon couldn't go for the pin because, remember, her left arm is injured. Her right arm is useful, but she's basically a one-armed Ember. And of course, the Eclipse causes her to use both arms. It is basically a stunner after all. So she kind of like re-injured or basically did even more damage to her left arm. Baszler is still down. The doctors come out. Baszler, you know, is not going to give up. She refuses it. In fact, it got the crowd so pissed off that they were actually chanting bullshit. Because they didn't want the match to end that way. Ember Moon went back in the ring. Baszler, by this point, got up. She locked her in the armbar for what felt like forever. Moon made the ropes, but then Shayna pulled her back in the ring. She tried getting out of it any way she can. She tried to flip on her stomach and try to make Shayna move, but then Shayna just simply wrenched the arm again. And she was really pulling on the arm. It took this went on for I think like at least like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. Moon finally, what happened was Moon, she stacked up Shayna Baszler. So basically, like she's got her arm in the arm bar. She grabs the other arm, moves and twerks her body to the point where she's over Shayna Baszler's legs and kind of just stacks her up and pinned her. So even though she beat Shayna Baszler, it did somewhat protect Shayna, because it wasn't like, oh, you beat me with the Eclipse or something like that. She got a decisive win, but it was a win that you could say, well, if Baszler had let go of the armbar, maybe she could have kicked out or something like that. I liked it. What I also liked is the fact that they didn't just take the title immediately off Ember Moon, because because if they had done that, I would have said the same thing I did when Asuka retained at Takeover Brooklyn last year, was that it was the wrong decision to make. Look, I get you like this other person who might seem more legit, but then there's Ember Moon, who naturally connects with the crowd, has a cool entrance, is really good in the ring, but you're not even giving her the chance to succeed with the belt. If they had taken the belt off her, because I always figured the person who should take the belt off of Ember Moon is Kairi Sane. That's the person who I think should beat Ember for the championship. Because as much as I like Shayna Baszler, and I do like Shayna Baszler, she needs improvement. As far as I'm aware of, she's only been in the wrestling business for a couple of years. She's been an MMA, she was a long-time MMA fighter. But she was only in the wrestling business for a couple of years. And, so I think Baszler having more time in the developmental, NXT, which is just to develop and become a more complete wrestler, it's one of the reasons, and I know some people like that, I like the tournament too, but it's one of the reasons why part of the excitement for the Mae Young Classic for me died down is because they were clearly trying to set up a Baszler 4 Horsemen versus 4 Horsemen match, seemingly, without really anything else in the tournament. It was all about Shayna Baszler and the 4 Horsemen thing, and everyone else was like a side note. I mean, they told many stories, but this isn't the Cruiserweight Classic when they told several stories. The Brian Kendrick thing, Cedric Alexander trying so hard desperately to beat Kota Ibushi, the story TJ Perkins had told, the story Rich Swann had told, the story of Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, which the first match is not going to happen in NXT. It already did happen in the Cruiserweight Classic. You look at those matches, so many of the people in that tournament mattered. Even though I liked the Mae Young Classic, I think a lot of the quality was sacrificed just to set up a 4 Horsemen versus 4 Horsemen match, only one of which would actually be in the tournament. The other 4, of course, are already on the main roster, and the other 4 are not even wrestlers in WWE. One is Roger Strong's wife, one is Ronda Rousey, and the other, I believe, is training to be a wrestler. And then, of course, there's Shayna Baszler, who actually is a wrestler. So, with that said, I'm glad that they didn't just go on the Baszler, put everything on Baszler now, because honestly, she needs more time. I'm going to be the one to say it. To take the title now off of Ember Moon, it would just be a waste of Ember Moon. Because I think she could have a really good title reign. Have her go on one-on-one with Nikki Cross, or with or Kairi Sane eventually, as we pretty much figure is going to happen. So with that said, I did like the match. It's not the best match that they could have had. I do think it could have been a better match, mostly because of the padding. It was basically padded. Early on, it got really good, but then it was padded out with the Ember Moon re-injuring her left arm, and Ember Moon being in the arm bar for what felt like 2-3 minutes. Post-match, as Ember Moon was being helped out to the back, Shayna Baszler came up to behind and choked out Ember Moon a couple of times. And funny enough, when she was on the stage, and I noticed this, when she was on the stage doing her taunt, even though she lost, she put up the 4 Horsemen sign like this. So that leads me to believe that we might not be getting a rematch between Shayna Baszler and Ember Moon at Takeover in New Orleans. We might be getting a 4 Horsemen versus 4 Horsemen stick. Either that, or that's just her being, putting her privileges in somebody's face. You know, that kind of thing. Before the next match started, Ricochet was spotted in the crowd by the camera. Next match was the semi-main event, or just simply the second to last match in the card. It was the Extreme Rules match between Aleister Black and Adam Cole. Crowd was totally into this match. This match had a lot of buzz because it was an Extreme Rules match, and I almost forgot to mention, and I didn't really forget to mention, although I kind of did, but I'm glad I'm mentioning it now. Why is it an Extreme Rules match? Well, where are they? Where are they? Philadelphia, the home of ECW, where I believe the Hammerstein is right down the road. Or either, well, I don't know, I forget, but you know what I'm talking about. But the home of ECW was in Philadelphia. And Paul Heyman, of course, opened the show with a pre-package for the show. So with that said, crowd, yeah, totally into this match, mainly because it was Extreme Rules. Several ECW chants, or should I say EC-dub. This was just a fucking brawl. This match was great. This was a hell of a match. You know, Cole grabbed steel chairs, where Black simply sat on one of the chairs. Both of them at one point had kendo sticks, and Aleister Black threw his aside saying, "Come at me, bro." He didn't actually say that, but it's basically what he implied. And proceeded to kick the shit out of Cole before Cole got him right in the stomach off a moonsault with the kendo stick. Several weapons were used. There was a suplex spot, a superplex spot through a trash can. At one point, you know, it was just crazy. There was a backstabber after Cole was choking Aleister Black with a kendo stick. And usually when you see people in, like, say, not a sharpshooter, but a crossface type maneuver, whenever they've used a kendo stick, usually they use them either on the throat right here, or like in the face area. Not this time. Adam Cole pretty much put the kendo stick right in Black's friggin' mouth. So retching it back in the mouth and then just that looked like it had to hurt. And then immediately following that up with a backstabber. Black later on grabbed a ladder, and at one point in the electric chair position, he threw Adam Cole. He didn't throw him like I thought he would just powerbomb him on the ladder, but no. He threw Adam Cole from the electric chair position. You know what electric chair position looks like. He threw him. Adam Cole went backwards and basically landed ass first against the ladder. I thought that was both really cool and very funny. I actually kind of laughed like, ha 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 ha. It was, though, a little bit funny. At one point, though, either one or both of them were bleeding, which caused the referee to pull out the, of course, gloves. He does not touch children. The referee does not. But anyways, Cole, he got a cut, like right here on the right here on the right leg, like on the thigh area, the upper thigh area, a little bit below where his trunks were. He got a cut, and there was blood. We even saw that blood later on Aleister Black's, back. Black's back. Tables were set up early on. Tables were set up early on, but they were not used. And in fact, they were doing a lot of stuff in the ring that, and honestly, it made me forget that there was the table, because what happened was Aleister Black was doing something from the top rope. Adam Cole took a chair, threw it at him. Black caught the chair, but then Cole did a super kick and hit the chair right into Black's head, and then Black fell through the tables. Believe it or not, I had actually forgotten that the tables were even there. It wasn't until he was in the middle of falling, like, oh, holy shit, the tables are there. I completely forgotten they were even there. They did a really good job of avoiding constantly showing the tables. The end of the match came when I believe Aleister Black had the advantage. But then Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish came out, and, I gotta mention this. I almost forgot to mention probably the worst spot of the whole match in terms of how painful it looked. So, there are two chairs set up in the ring, right? In the sitting position. Adam Cole, we switched them around, so that way the backs of the chair were against each other. So say there's this chair I'm sitting on right here. Picture a chair just turned around, having its back towards me. Adam Cole was going to do something. Didn't work out because Aleister Black came up and basically did an attitude adjustment right on top of the chairs. That looked like it hurt so bad. They replayed it twice, and I was like, ugh. I mean, it looked like it hurt. I did not want to be Adam Cole in that spot. So yes, Adam Cole, and by this point, Black was pretty much going for the win. Then, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish came out. They were attacking Adam Cole. They hit their finisher on the outside, They dragged Black's lifeless-looking corpse to the announce table and just taking everything apart. And as they were gonna do a move onto the announce table, out came Sanity, specifically the male members, as Nikki Cross was not out there. Sanity came out, Eric Young, and oh god, I'm already forgetting the other guy's name. But you know who I'm talking about. Eric Young and the other guys, I'll just say for now, were attacking Cole and O'Reilly and Fish on the outside. Killian Dane, the former Big Damo, was in the ring, and basically straight up all but said to Adam Cole, "I'm going to do a dive." And that's exactly what he did. Killian Dane did a dive to the outside. This is what I was talking about when I talked about big men diving earlier, when I alluded to this earlier in the review. Not a lot of big guys do dives. Killian Dane might actually now have the record of biggest man to ever do a dive. He's got Brock Lesnar beat. Not biggest man like Undertaker. I mean like biggest like in terms of just his girth. The guy, he's not skinny. He's not Undertaker where much of his girth is in the fact that he's tall. And he's muscular. Big Damo, Killian Dane, whatever you want to call him. He ain't muscular like Undertaker is. He's big. That's not a knock on him at all because he was able to dive despite being a big guy. That's impressive. And I thought the coast-to-coast spot from Takeover War Games was impressive. Because they constantly teased that back when he was Big Damo in WCPW. They never once did it. Probably because they didn't have faith that he would actually do it. But, you know, he did it here. And I'm like, holy shit. Cole looked to the floor and is like, pretty much had the same expression I did, was the holy shit look, like, oh fuck. Black, he tried to get Black into the ring. Not Black into the ring. I think he tried to suplex Aleister Black through the announce table, but that didn't work. Black fought Cole off. He basically hit a double foot stomp onto Cole, and he put him through the table. Keep in mind, Cole was not all the way on the table. Like, his upper half of the body was on the table. And there was a moment where I thought it looked grim for Black, because he first landed, like, of course he did the double foot stomp, more on the shoulders than anything. But then he landed on his knees on the announce table, and he briefly grabbed his knee, and I'm like, oh shit. Aleister Black's now hurt. Fuck. But thankfully, he was not hurt. Threw him back in the ring. Cole gave him a super kick. Cole grabbed the chair. But as he was going to hit Black with it, all of a sudden, Aleister Black hit Black Mass on Adam Cole and beat him. Aleister Black still undefeated in singles competition. Technically, he was pinned back in the Fatal 4-Way match, which is the big reason why this match happened. I do think, considering the time that they had, I do think they could have had a better match, because in some ways they did take their time. Maybe a little bit too much. But either way, it was still a great match. It was a lot of fun. The Sanity and Undisputed Era feud still going on, as they remember, Sanity was attacked, and they never got their title rematch. The ending was really great, and it was just a whole hell of a lot of fun. It was awesome. EC3 was spotted in the crowd under that name. He was not Derek Bateman. And apparently he's a new NXT signing, which is probably good, because I don't think that the main roster, specifically Vince, wouldn't know jack shit of what to do with him, considering the fact that the EC3 character is a TNA creation, not a WWE creation. And they're good. They're better off using the EC3 name. Hell, the Solid Monster had the idea, instead of using Ethan Carter, because, you know, Carter, of course, is Dixie, and Dixie is TNA, and Dixie does not really exist as a character in WWE. So maybe they'll call him something like Ethan Cambridge III. We don't know what the EC3. You can still call him Ethan, but we don't know about the other one. Almas and Gargano. Next match was Andrade, Cien, Almas, and Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship in the main event. Almas came out with a masked mariachi band. The fact they all had masks was hilarious. He even came out to his old La Sombra mask for part of his entrance. He came out with the La Sombra mask, with the tights that fit, the coat thing. So he really looked. And for a second, I'm like, man, that's a nice callback. So that came out. Next came Johnny Gargano, who got a massive pop. Of course, Almas was accompanied by the beautiful Zelina Vega. And recently, with Candice LeRae signing with NXT, Candice LeRae was in the front row watching the match. These two guys had some pretty damn good, great matches even last year at Takeover Brooklyn, and then on a NXT TV taping that aired on NXT TV afterwards, which I thought was even better. And now they're both better. Johnny Gargano coming off a hot 2017, and Andrade Cien Almas finally got into his groove now that he has Zelina Vega in his corner. Really completes the character. Yeah, crowd was behind the match big time, behind Johnny Gargano big time. They locked up. They did some chain wrestling early on. One thing I was hoping for was that they wouldn't go too soon on the Zelina Vega interference, because you knew that was happening. You knew it was going to happen, so they didn't, do that later on. But look, I'm just going to be honest and say this right now. This match, so far, match of the year. I've seen some people online say it. I'm going to say it too. This is a 5-star match, and is quite possibly in the running for best NXT match ever. Yes, possibly even better than Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn. Now, maybe I'm in the minority on that. I don't give a shit. This match is 5 stars. This match kicked so much ass. This match was awesome. From beginning to end, everything about this match was great. All the spots were done great. The story was done great. Crowd was completely into it, solidly behind Johnny Gargano. I can't even go over all the great spots. I guess, I can go over some of them. There was there wasn't so much in the way of amazing spots. There was a spot when, Andrade Cien Almas had Gargano on the Tree of Woe on the outside of the ring on the apron. Almas went for the and Almas hit the of course the drop kick from the top of the turnbuckle onto the Tree of Woe stricken Johnny Wrestling. And I was hoping, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Thankfully, he landed pretty safely. So that was pretty good. There was another spot later, I believe, maybe even earlier, but where Gargano hit his over-the-top rope DDT. Usually he does it in the ring after an enziguri. But earlier in the match, he did it to Almas on the apron on the outside, which looked like it had to hurt. But it looks like it was done safely enough. Zelina Vega did get involved. Johnny Gargano had knocked Almas out on the outside where Vega was. He threw Almas in the ring, and as he got Almas in the ring, and referee was just checking on Almas real quick, Zelina Vega gave him a running Hurricane Rana from the apron into the steps, threw Gargano in there. Almas hit the Almas hit the, God, what's the name of his DDT move? I have to look this up, I'm sorry. I know you guys would never forgive me if I forgot the name of his move. Oh God, Andrade Almas is only 28 years old. He's this good at 28? Shit. He's gonna do just fine on the main roster, I hope. He did the Hammerlock DDT. I knew it was a DDT. I forgot what it was called. There's so many DDT moves. Sorry. But he hit the Hammerlock DDT and got a near fall, which got a great pop from the crowd. Of course, he had the double knees earlier in the match, but that didn't get the win. Earlier, of course, he had the inverted tornado DDT, which I would always call the Destino Mark II, as there will only be one Destino in my book. Gargano hit the long dart. Then got that super kick. That only got a 2. After the whole Zelina Vega interference and Hammerlock DDT kick out, Gargano went to the outside. Gargano went to the outside. Fell on the floor. What happened was, because Vega, and one thing I loved about this match, I will admit, whenever Gargano was getting so close to winning, Zelina Vega's expression, the expressions on her face were perfect. They were perfect. You almost got the feeling Zelina Vega is very good at facial impressions. Heck, when she's on the main card, not the main card, when she's on the card spot, the card graphic that they put up for these matches, Zelina Vega is, of course, behind Andrade. The look on her face just yells bitch mode. I mean, it looks... it looked, she's very good at the facial features. I mean, she interfered several times. First, earlier when he tried to do the super kick to a kneeling Andrade, and she came and tried to distract him. I think she tried to pull on his foot, but that didn't happen. Earlier, he went for, I believe, the Gargano escape, and Almas raked the eyes after Zelina Vega tried to interfere. Then, of course, after Gargano hit the suicide dive, she hit the Hurricane Rana, and of course, Gargano went to the steps and, Hammerlock DDT spot. She once again tried to interfere when Almas was in the middle of the ring, and Gargano went to the outside, just rolled to the outside. He rolled to the floor. Vega, in a fit of rage, was like stomping over like a little child, trying to take out Gargano, probably trying to do more damage. Then Candice LeRae, this was shot very well too. Candice LeRae came out of absolutely freaking nowhere, jumped over the barricade, charged Zelina Vega, and just attacked this woman. They fought into the crowd. She threw her over the barricade. Zelina Vega is trying to get the hell away from Candice LeRae. Don't fuck with Johnny Gargano's wife. This is the moral of the story. That was done very well. That got a big pop in the crowd. They brawled to the back. Gargano got back up. He hit the Insigurian slingshot DDT. But Almas kicked out. Even though that is a really cool looking DDT, that at least the way Almas sells it, it's really cool looking. So what happened was they worked. Here's the finish of the match. They fought because Gargano got the Gargano escape. Almas got to the ropes. They both were on the apron on the side of the ring from the way the entranceway was. He as in Almas, he posted Johnny Gargano. He hit the charging knees. Remember, the charging knees from one, usually he hits them in the corner, in the turnbuckle. He hit them against the post. Johnny Gargano, who, by the way, somewhere earlier to middle of the match, he had lips full of blood. It wasn't like bleeding blood, like it was dripping, like your mouth was busted open. But it looked like, you know, his mouth. But it looked like he got busted lips and his lips are full of red. By this point, it looks like they were like scabbing up and darkening in terms of the blood. And I was like, ooh, that was a really good visual. But Johnny Gargano had this look of, like, this dazed look after the running knees into the post. Like, where the hell am I? What the hell? Gargano went back in the ring. No, he didn't go back in the ring. Andrade then got the draping hammerlock DDT. It's the same move that he used to beat Drew McIntyre at NXT Takeover War Games. Thankfully, Johnny Gargano was not hurt, as far as I know. He was not hurt by the hammerlock DDT. He hit it, and 1, 2, 3. In what was, even though it was a back and forth match, and yes, Vega did interfere, but the finish itself was a clean finish. Andrade didn't really cheat in this match, aside from the raking of the eyes. It was all Zelina Vega. I actually like that. I like that. I'm just counting down the big moments. This doesn't even begin to you know, get in mind the best match. God, I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't. This match was fucking amazing. This is the best match of the year so far. Yes, better than Jericho and Omega, better than Okada and Naito, both from Wrestle Kingdom, both fantastic matches. But this one was just a little better. It was just a little bit better. This match had everything you could want. It had, you know, it had cool entrance. It had a good entrance by Andrade. A major pop of an entrance by Johnny Gargano. Had great wrestling. You know, little bits of chain, little bits of high flying. You know, little bits of the heel and face work, of course. Johnny Gargano, amazing babyface. Andrade Cien Almas, especially with Zelina Vega, absolutely a great heel. This match went 30 minutes, so they got plenty of time, and at no point did this match feel too long or too boring or padded out. There was no selling it here. Every move felt like it mattered. Crowd, of course, completely behind Gargano, which is part of the reason why I thought this was an amazing match, was because the crowd was such an integral part of the match. It was very similar to CM Punk and John Cena from Money in the Bank 2011. The fact that the crowd was pretty much what pushed this match over the top. A great story. There was a great story going into this, where Johnny Gargano tried to fight back from all the shit that happened in 2017 with the break with DIY, losing to almost the first 2 times, constantly losing, then getting the wins, finally getting a shot here at Takeover, but then losing. Even though at no point did he ever give up. He didn't give up until he had to be taken out, just taken down and taken out. I know it's only January, but I don't see another match being better than this. If there is, I'll be very shocked. Well, from New Japan, probably not. From WWE, I don't see another WWE or NXT match topping this one. In the last 10 minutes or so, this match was fucking amazing. This match went 30 or so minutes. And when this match started, it was like, according to my time frame, it was like 7, because the show where I live starts at 6 and supposed to be a 2-hour show. This show ended after 2.5 hours. So I don't know if they went overtime, or they just wanted to, or they had they had an extra half an hour. But either way, this match was fucking awesome. It was emotionally invested. There was a bunch of drama. Just everything about it. Everything about it was great. It was amazing to watch. Again, running for best NXT match ever. It was that great. Post match, Candice LeRae was helping Johnny Gargano back to his feet as Zelina Vega and Andrade Almas were making their exit. They were getting all, and this is part of the reason why I thought this was so great. Johnny Gargano got a standing ovation. People were cheering and roaring for Johnny Gargano. He and Candice were going to the back. We saw the NXT symbol on the bottom left, like as if to indicate the show's over. All of a sudden, Johnny Gargano gets hit in behind with a crutch by none other than Tommaso Ciampa, who got a bunch of heat from this. He only hit him once. Keep in mind, he didn't go on a straight up assault. He only hit him once with the crutch, but it was enough to take Johnny down. And the crowd were booing the hell out of Ciampa. And a few seconds after that happened, commentary cut off. Speaking of commentary, I gotta mention this. Nigel McGuinness was out. It was only Mauro Ranallo and Percy Watson. Percy Watson, I know some people may not like him, but I honestly find him a lot more tolerable than both Byron Saxton and Booker T. Because Percy Watson, I think he's got the personality, but he doesn't act stupid like they do. He actually acts like a fan, which is, I guess we all are, but yeah, he acts like a good person. Well, he's better commentary than those two, I'll say. Let me just say that. So, Ciampa walked off, and the show ended. Tommaso Ciampa, in terms of the Tommaso Ciampa run-in, I expected Tommaso Ciampa to run in. But I was sure that Ciampa was going to run in during the match. And, at one point, the referee gets knocked out. Ciampa comes in, costs his former tag team partner the title out of pure blind hatred for him. The fact that Ciampa got hurt, and now Gargano is getting these opportunities, and he wants to take it out on Gargano. Problem is, Ciampa, after it was made perfectly obvious why Ciampa did not do that, and why he didn't just go on an assault at the end of the match, or the end of the show, I mean. It's because he's still in a knee brace. He still has a knee brace on his knee. So of course they don't want to overextend what he can do, but they wanted to get that Ciampa interference in. They wanted to get Ciampa in there somehow, and that's exactly what happened. So with that said, this was a fantastic show. Go watch it. This is not better than Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom was a much more complete show. But this match and this show was fucking awesome. So, go check it out right now. Right now, go check it out. Just after I'm done with the review, but go check out the show right now if you haven't already. See you next time, guys. Peace. I'll see you later with the Royal Rumble. By the way, I will be live tweeting during the show, mainly during the Royal Rumble match. So, yeah, there's going to be live tweeting during the Rumble. I'll put my Twitter account in my description box below, so you can live tweet with me if you're watching it live. So with that said, guys, stay safe. I'll see you later, probably tomorrow, with the Royal Rumble review. Till next time, guys, peace out.